Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jay and I am a plus size solo female traveller. That's always a mouthful to say, but if you are new here, don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe so that you get to see any future videos. Today we are going to talk about things to do in Dublin. Feels like a while since I've been on YouTube. Has been a few weeks, which is not ideal and not something that I want to be doing. I want to be making sure that I post content weekly or bi-weekly, but at the minute it's just about having the content there. I have already filmed this video once. Actually, I filmed it twice and hated it both times, so third time lucky, although I've probably picked the worst day, as I'm pretty sure it's like the hottest day of the year. So as I said, today is going to be a video completely about things to do in Dublin. So without further ado, let's get straight in. So if you've already seen, I went to Dublin a month or so ago and there are videos further down my page from my Dublin trip. I also have plenty of Dublin content over on my TikTok, so if you're going to Dublin, head over to TikTok and watch my videos down below. But I did just want to do a video based on some of the things that I did, some of the things that I recommend, one or two things that I maybe don't recommend, just so that if you go in, this might be helpful to you. So I went to Dublin for a little over 42 hours. The main purpose of the trip was that I was going for the Work the World tour. So this wasn't actually something I did by myself. I went with someone else. I went with one of my friends, and yeah, we went for the Work the World tour, which was supposed to be in 2020. It got postponed. We could have done it in the UK, but neither of us had ever been to Dublin, so we decided why not go and do it in Dublin. And after a few times of being rearranged, it finally happened in May this year. So aside from the Work the World tour at the 3 Arena, we did get up to a few other things while in the city. The first one being the Guinness Storehouse. Now, I wasn't overly fussed about going to the Guinness Storehouse when my friend mentioned it, but I know that she wanted to do it. I'd heard loads of people say that even if you don't like Guinness, you should go, it's worth it for the experience. And so I was a bit like, okay, yeah, let's do it. It was, I think, €22. I think it worked out about £19, and that included a free drink as well. So it was definitely worth it. It was one of those museums where there isn't loads and loads of reading, and everything's quite interactive. It's just such a good experience. There's also part of the tour where you can do a taster. So I posted this on my TikTok and people got a bit confused. People thought that now, instead of getting the free Guinness that you used to get at the end, you were just being given like a really small one. This isn't the case. So I'm not sure if this tasting session is something that is new or only happens at certain sort of periods. I thought it was certain days. I thought it was like maybe once or twice a week or at a certain time every day, but it was morning. The one that we went to was on a Wednesday at like 10:05. So I'm not sure if this is the case, because that seems like a really random time to have one if you're not doing them pretty often. But that was on like the 3rd or 4th floor, and so everyone got a small taster of Guinness. Now, I don't like Guinness, I know, controversial, and I'm really sorry, but it's just not one of those things that I like. I'm not a massive coffee fan, although it was probably one of the nicer beers I've had, which was really strange. So then when we got up to the Sky Bar, I used my free ticket for a soft drink, which you can do. The Sky Bar is so much fun. You get a complete panoramic view of the city. The only downside to it was that it was incredibly busy because it was like 5:30, and also there was quite a lot of construction that's happening in Dublin. So there was quite a lot of just cranes and that kind of thing in the way, but it was still worth going up and having a bit of a look. So that was on the Wednesday afternoon for us. By the time that we were finished, went and got some food, it was pretty late, so we just took a walk back to the hotel that we were staying at. We went and saw the Halfpenny Bridge, that kind of thing. And then when we woke up on the Thursday, we were originally going to do a walking tour, but decided to kind of do our own walking tour, I guess. We made sure that we did all of the points that were on the walking tour, such as like the Dublin Castle. We went to Love Lane, we went to the Temple Bar, those kinds of places. Temple Bar, we went about 10:30, and there was no one in there. And then it tried to rain as we were kind of like just walking around some of the streets around where Temple Bar is. So we went back at about 11:30 to avoid the rain and just had a bit of a drink. And by the time that we were done at 12, it was pretty busy. So I would probably recommend going early in the morning if you want to be able to like really take in the environment, and then if you do like busier, then obviously go back again in the afternoon. You should definitely go and check out all of sort of like the street art that's in and around Dublin. There is quite a lot of it, which I was actually surprised by. I didn't know that that was such a thing. There were parts that I'd heard of, such as Love Lane, but I wasn't kind of aware of some of the other parts that existed. So it's definitely worth checking out and just having a wander, because you always find new pieces. One thing that I really wanted to do and that I've heard so much about, but when I went to book it, it was sold out. So maybe something that you need to book in advance, was the Kilmainham Gaol. I've probably just butchered that saying, so I apologise if so. But this is a old prison that's now been turned into kind of like a museum, and I really wanted to go and see it. But as I say, it was sold out. I think the tickets are quite cheap as well, so if you are in and around Dublin, definitely go and check it out. I've heard a lot about it, and then let me know how it is, so that when I go back to Dublin, I can add it to my list of things to do if everyone recommends. Another thing that I kind of enjoyed was Grafton Street. I didn't really feel like I felt like I was on Grafton Street, but I think that's because we joined at like a side street entrance. I mean, there's loads of shops, so you kind of work it out pretty quickly, and there's a sign, but from the entrance that we joined, you wouldn't really know if that makes sense. But it's quite nice to just kind of like stroll up there. I like a lot of the different side streets have like nice bars and stuff on, and like really nice places that you can take a good Instagram photo. This brings me to the part I hate the most, and this is something that I particularly don't recommend. So we went to the Book of Kells. Now, this is again probably going to be a bit of a controversial one. I think this is a mistake on our part, but the reason I'm saying it is because I don't want anyone else to mistake what we thought was going to be what it was, and it wasn't, if that makes sense. So the Book of Kells was, I think, around €15. I don't know whether it was €16 for adults and 15 for students, or 14 for students and 15 for adults, but I had a student card. And then when you go in, it's just like all this reading, and then you go and see the book, and then there's like the big old library, which is cool. Like, to see the old library is really interesting, but the experience itself I just didn't think was worth it. I think we thought that it was still an actual library where you could sit and like read books and that kind of thing. I don't know why, but kind of had in my head like Matilda vibes. So if you see Matilda, where she goes and sits in the library and reads all the books, that was kind of what I thought it would be like, and it wasn't. So if you're really into history, or know a lot about the Book of Kells, or just know that it's not a library, you're probably going to enjoy it. But if you're going thinking there's a lot more to it, you're probably going to find or feel a little bit underwhelmed. But as I say, to me, I think it was more that it just felt like it was quite overpriced for what it was. But I think that's, again, as I say, we hadn't really researched it too much. We just sort of seen it and went and did it, so that probably falls onto us. But I thought it was something worth mentioning. And then the only other thing that I think was a bit, not off or iffy, but I don't really know how to explain it. We went to St Stephen's Park, again a place I've heard a lot about, and I imagine it's absolutely stunning, but there were so many pigeons and birds everywhere. I'm really not a bird person, and neither is my friend, so I think for us it was a little bit too much. It was quite a grey, dull day as well. So I imagine in the summer it's absolutely stunning, but for me, I was just instantly put off by the amount of birds. So maybe if you like birds or don't really mind it, you are probably going to get on with it a little bit better. But for me, I just couldn't deal with that amount of birds. But other than that, it was an amazing trip. There's still a lot more that I would like to go back and do, such as the Kilmainham Gaol. If anyone's got any recommendations of things I should do when I go back, please let me know. I'm not entirely sure when I'm going back yet, but since it is only such a short distance, I think I'm going to have to try and make it soon. So yeah, if you've got any recommendations, let me know down below. And if you've liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.